This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
On the news this morning, Senate committee summons Finance Minister over military funding. Katsina State Governor Bello Mazari faults call for declaration of state of emergency. Rivers State government imposes statewide curfew. FIDA raises alarm over rise in cases of incest and domestic violence in Rivers State. On the foreign scene, Delhi seeks more cremation space as COVID deaths rises. In business, CBN appoints new directors for First Bank, reinstate Adedonton as MD. I am Ifeami Andrew. There was unusual security alert in Abuja as security operatives at the National Assembly were screening car boots and all vehicles approaching the complex. This follows speculations of an alleged invasion of the territory by insurgents from Adala in Niger State. The Senate Committee on Army has summoned Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed to give account of release of funds to the military for Operation Lafia Dole and the war on terrorism. The minister was represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Finance, but the dissatisfied lawmakers insisted that the minister must appear.
If the minister is in town and she refuses to honor this invitation, honestly, or neglect this invitation, honestly, we are not going to take it kindly. While in her state, in Kaduna, today, more than 50 people are still in the hands of captives. If to say her child or her brother or somebody related is among those that are there, I'm sure she will be here.
The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry during the presentation told the committee that all the funds appropriated were released in 2019.
Number 4 there, 2020, 75 billion was appropriated, 74.999, only I think 2 hours. So almost 100% was released. The current year, 100 billion has been appropriated. We have released 19.7 for the first quarter. Just yesterday, we have released 19.95. They may require certain funds, but as far as appropriation is concerned, we have released what has been appropriated to them.
However, Senator Ali Ndume, committee chairman, presented a letter from the Chief of Defense Staff where the military authorities complained of shortfall in releases from the Finance Ministry.
Here is a letter indicating that from the time of the introduction of Operation Lafia Dole, they have a shortfall outstanding of 50 billion. When they attacked Minok, the problem they had there was because they didn't have the communication, they didn't have the cover, they didn't have, in fact, what happened really was that they ran out of ammunition. When they exhausted their ammunition, they had to take cover, they ran away, and they killed 30 of them.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Tahiru, has reiterated the commitment of the Nigerian Army in crushing Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast. He briefed journalists in Borno State on Thursday at the 7th Division, May Malari Cantonment, Operation Lafia Dole in Meduguri, where he went to visit some injured soldiers.
We have defeated Boko Haram severally. If for one time they came and we lose certain equipment, even though we were never defeated, I can assure you that we'll overcome, notwithstanding whatever had happened. We will take on Boko Haram decisively, and we are committed to the focus of the entire operation, which is the total annihilation of Boko Haram from Nigeria.
However, Katsina State Governor Bello Mazari says declaration of state of emergency will not solve the rising security challenges in the country. Governor Mazari spoke in Abuja on Thursday after a private meeting with the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari.
How can a state of emergency solve the problem? You see, you have a situation where the military are in all the states of the federation. Then you ask yourself, how many do we have? Are we not overstretching them? The responsibility of securing this country is ours, all of us. We have a role to play, and we must play it for the sake of the country and for the sake of our children and grandchildren, not for the sake of the persons that are in office.
Coming up in the news, Governor Nyesom Wike says Nigerians are at risk because of the APC-led federal government. Stay tuned. Nyesom Wike says Nigerians are at risk because the APC-led federal government has failed to protect the lives and properties of citizens. Governor Wike said this when the Supreme Council of Ogoni traditional rulers visited him at the government house in Port Harcourt.
You know how the country is today. All of us, nobody can say that he or she is safe now. Nobody can say so. Even as a governor, you cannot say. Governors have been attacked, even on the roads. The security of the nation has collapsed. The present government of APC has not shown enough commitment to protect life and property of Nigerians. May I say it's not enough. There's no day you wake up, you win here, 20 people have been kidnapped, 10 people have been killed, army officers have been killed, police officers have been killed, police stations have set children have been kidnapped from school. So all of us are at risk because the government, the party we voted for at the national level have refused to protect us and have shown that they have no capacity to protect Nigerians. I thank God Nigerians voted for them to show the difference.
Governor Nyesom Wike says one of the problems of society is that politicians are not held accountable for their promises.
It's important to note that which all of us must carry home. That time has come when we must hold politicians responsible and accountable for what we say and what policies we make. The problem the society has today is that the people have refused to hold us responsible. We come to you, we make one promise or we make promises. At the end of the day, we don't fulfill them. The next time we come back to you, you still listen to us. The only way you can make people to change is that when you say you will do this for the people, you do it. So that when you go back to them, they will have the belief that you will still do what you have told them.
Earlier, the chairman of Supreme Council of Ogoni Traditional Rulers, Godwin Giniwa, in his address read by the paramount ruler of Wite Tai, His Royal Highness Mene Samuel Nini, said their visit was to thank the governor for his developmental strides in Ogoni land and the appointment of Ogoni sons and daughters to serve his administration. The Rivers State Security Council has imposed a statewide night curfew from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Governor Nyesom Wike in a state broadcast yesterday said the review became necessary following new threats of deadly attacks on some parts of the state.
The State Security Council has today, after exhaustive deliberation, decided and advised that a statewide curfew on human and vehicular movements be imposed as part of additional measures to prevent the faceless criminals from unleashing their deadly actions. Consequently, a night curfew is hereby imposed on the entire 23 local government areas of the state, prohibiting any human and or vehicular movement within or any part of the state from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. from today, 29th April 2021, until further notice. We wish to repeat that in taking these and other drastic measures at this time, our singular intention is to secure our state and guarantee the protection of lives and property.
Governor Wike also called on residents to report any suspicious movement to security agencies.
While therefore calling for continued understanding, we again advise everyone to be vigilant and promptly report every suspicious movement in your neighborhood to the security agencies for immediate actions.
The Federation of International Meanwhile, some residents of River State along the Ishiayi-Yenegua Road close to the border with Bayelsa State were arrested on Wednesday night after they defaulted the 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. land border curfew. One of them, who was arrested, spoke to Nigerian Info.
They arrest me, say anybody reach 8 o'clock, enter cell. And some people through 8 o'clock and their business, they said, how do they want to stop us for that kind of 8 o'clock? They arrest me around 8 o'clock as they inside cell around 10 o'clock in the morning after they release me. And they pay me with 15,000. Which reason, without me, I no thief, I no do anything, I no boss person yet, I no follow everybody who call it just like that. Then pick me say, late hour. I better make the governor think himself. We pass COVID-19 period, both flogging, both beating, they put people for inside court. This kind of surveillance, we don't need that.
Others said the government did not give ample time before imposing the curfew at the borders.
People wait from far place before they go reach their house. Age don't knock. But put at like 9 o'clock. Before you go, maybe if you go far place, before 9, you don't reach your house. Myself, they hold me for inside in my ear. Myself, they talk to them. They don't agree leave me. After that 8, some more to the pass. Keke will remain there.
For that side, now they say we hold up, go well for that side. This center could just be quiet. But they say that side, some people might come late. They did.
And most of them don't know. Say coffee don't start. And the reason they wicked us. People say we will answer. Make everybody know. Or 1 week time, we will see they will answer 1 week time before they will start the coffee. So that everybody where they far place will know how we take work carry their house.
A coalition of ex-agitators, youth groups and civil society organization in River State has called on Nigerians to disregard threats by the Ijaw Youth Council IYC and the 1-month ultimatum given to the NDDC to inaugurate a substantive board. This was contained in a communique signed by the National Secretary, First Phase ex-agitators Nature, Dumale, Kienge and 3 others. Nature Kienge read out the communique during a press briefing in Port Harcourt.
The IYC press conference was sponsored by enemies of the region who may be indicted in the ongoing forensic audit of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, that is almost completed. The IYC is not the only youth body in the Niger Delta region and therefore cannot speak for all youth groups in the region. We condemn in very strong terms the threat to shut the economic activity of the Niger Delta at the time the country is going through the highest level of insecurity.
He also said that they are in support of the forensic audit of the NDDC.
The reason is that under their leadership, permanent headquarters of NDDC, which became abandoned for over 20 years, has been completed and is now in use. We support the forensic audit and advise all well-meaning Niger Delta youth and groups and elders of the region to be patient for the process to be completed. As a coalition, we completely disassociate ourselves from the threats to peace and development in the region and advise security agencies to be on alert.
Reacting to questions from newsmen concerning the notice from the American government to Americans not to do business in the region, Chairman, Niger Delta Coalition of Civil Society Chief Teke Opuye said the action of the IYC is a misrepresentation of the Ijaw nation.
Over time, we have been facing rejection from the multinationals. Our state governors and others have been trying to see how to cow these people back into this region. And it's not now a foolish man will go and threaten them to send them out. That's why I said they have been enemies of the state. And so for the tribal leader like him, who is supposed to be enlightening people on the dangers of violence, he has resorted to violence. And it shows that he was not properly tutored. And it's a misrepresentation to the Ijaw nation. Leaders we had have not reacted like this.
On his part, President of National Youth Council of Ogoni People, NYCOP, Barry Noazo Emmanuel, called on the IYC president to channel his energy to restoring peace to Andoni.
IYC should not take the NDDC is their cash cow. We as the other ethnic group in Rivers State will be waiting patiently all this while. And we are telling him that there is already high level of insecurity going on in the region, mostly in Rivers State. In his own place, Obolo, in Andoni, there's high level of killings and insecurity. I would advise him to channel his energy to see that there is peace in Andoni. You cannot threaten us all, and we will not fold down our hands and say that we are the host of NDDC in Rivers State, that him will come and threaten the operation of NDDC.
The Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide on April 25 issued a 1-month ultimatum to President Muhammadu Buhari to inaugurate a substantive board of NDDC. Otherwise, the council will not guarantee the safety of oil operations in the region. A Federation of International Women Lawyers FIDA in River State says cases of incest are on the increase. Acting chairman of FIDA in the state, Nnenna Igbokwe, made this known when the organization took their awareness campaign to the Government Craft Center, Port Harcourt. Mrs. Igbokwe, who explained the reasons for taking the campaign to the men, called on them to play their role in fighting the rising cases of incest in the society.
I would say after the lockdown, we recorded, let's say in a month, average of a month, we recorded more than 10 cases of incest. We have some in court now, that fathers raped their daughters, fathers having a sexual relationship with their daughter. We recorded a lot. So we realized that this particular area of sexual violence is underreported. But because of the lockdown, we now notice that it's actually been happening. Our eyes were open during the COVID-19 pandemic. We realized that incest went on the increase. So we decided to campaign, to talk, to sensitize, to educate, especially the boys, against incest. So we need the support of our men, the boys, the men, to stop this violence.
She also advised the survivors of incest to break their silence before it becomes a norm in society.
Their no should be their no. It does not matter who the person is. Even if it's your father, even if it's your brother, your sister, your uncle, your no should be your no. Where your mother says no, where your auntie says no, I will not speak out. Please run and report. FIDA is there, the Nigerian police are there. The worrisome thing is that most women don't even want to speak up because according to them, they don't want to lose their marriage. I wonder what marriage you have when your husband has taken over your children as sex tools. So our advice is that these children, you have the right to speak up. You have the right to tell somebody. You have the right to live free from all forms of sexual violence.
She also says there is a rise in the reported cases of domestic and sexual violence in the state.
The society is being affected because a lot of people don't know where to find us. Most of them have our addresses at the High Court complex, so when they get there and it's locked up, they wonder where we are. But thank God we also have an office at the MBA house, third floor of the MBA Port Harcourt branch house, and that is why when they call, we now direct them there. From when they started knowing that we are at the MBA house, we've recorded over 20 cases within this 1 month. Sexual violence, domestic violence. Domestic violence is another area that is also on the increase. In fact, there's a recent one that a man packed out the children and the woman out of the house, saying that the children are always sick, as if it's the woman's fault that the children are always sick.
Acting FIDA Chairman Nena Igbokwe also said that the closure of courts has affected increased juvenile cases they are handling. Rivers State Police Command says continued closure of courts had led to police cells becoming overcrowded. Nnamdi Moni told correspondent Bureau worried that the command is hopeful that the issues surrounding the GSON strike will be addressed so that suspects can have their day in court.
Even though it's spilling over to us because our suspects would have been in court are not in court. I understand very clearly that our cells are congested. Those with high profile cases like armed robbery, kidnapping, courtesy, murder, etc., they are still in our custody. And we pray that as soon as possible there should be a resolution of this impasse between GSON and the federal government so that the system can flow as it ought to flow.
Still ahead, federal government declares Monday public holiday to mark Workers' Day. Stay tuned.
Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers.
The federal government has declared Monday, May 3, 2021 a public holiday to mark this year's International Workers' Day celebration. The Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Ralph Aregbesola, who made the declaration, congratulated Nigerian workers for witnessing this year's celebration. In business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced new appointments in First Bank of Nigeria PLC and retained Dr. Shola Adedunton as the bank's managing director. This comes a day after the bank announced the removal of Adedunton. The CBN, however, queried the bank for the move on Thursday, saying that it did not notify it of the decision to remove Adedunton, who had yet to complete his tenure. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele announced the reinstatement of Adedunton and announced new directors for the bank at a news conference in Abuja.
The action by the board of First Bank of Nigeria sends a negative signal to the market on the stability of leadership on the board and management, and it is in the light of the foregoing that the Central Bank of Nigeria decided to query the board of directors on the unfortunate development at this bank.
The Apex Bank also ordered the immediate removal of all of the directors of FBN Limited and FBN Holdings PLC.
The CBN hereby reassures the depositors, creditors, and other stakeholders of the bank of its commitment to ensure the stability of the financial system. There is therefore no cause for panic amongst the banking public or important stakeholders, given that the actions being taken by the CBN are meant to strengthen the bank and position it as a banking giant in Nigeria.
And now we'll bring you news from around the world.
Police in India's capital, Delhi, has asked local authorities to identify more sites for cremations as the city recorded its highest COVID death toll. The aggressive second wave is ravaging parts of India, overwhelming hospitals, morgues, and crematoriums. A senior Delhi police officer said people are being forced to cremate their loved ones in crematoriums, not designated to take victims of COVID. The total number of COVID cases passed 18 million on Thursday, with 379,257 infections recorded, the biggest one-day increase on record for any country. India reported 3,645 deaths on Thursday, which was another record. On the news this morning, you heard that Senate committee has summoned the Minister of Finance over military funding. The Rivers State government has imposed a statewide curfew from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Katsina State Governor Bello Masari has said that the declaration of state of emergency will not solve rising security challenges in Nigeria. The federal government has declared Monday public holiday to mark Workers' Day. On the foreign scene, we told you that police in India's capital, Delhi, has asked local authorities to identify more sites for cremations as the city recorded its highest COVID-19 death toll. The news was edited by Enoho Ogbevere. Contact our newsroom on 0818-900-0017. My name is Efemi Andrew. Cloudy weather expected in Port Harcourt this morning. Good morning again, and thank you for listening.